In any programming language, it is very tempting to use the primitive types, string, ints, arrays, and to use them everywhere. And this causes problems if you ever want to shift away from them to create your own domain-specific types. So that's the pain that we get to enjoy in this live coding session. All right. Welcome back to another edition of the Quality Coding live stream, where for 90 minutes or so, we do test-driven development together in SwiftUI. Welcome, Mudshark. And yeah, other folks, will see if they join. This will wrap up in time to go watch the closing ceremonies. So that's my plan, is to do this, have fun with you all, and then go enjoy the rest. Go enjoy the big finish. It's been a fun Olympics. I've really enjoyed everything about it. Oh, I gotta say, one of the things I love, at least in the U.S. Broadcasting, for a change, at least this is on the streaming side. I don't know about TV broadcast. They haven't been plastering us with bio after bio. Like, here's, we're going to go watch the story of this athlete for 5 minutes. It's like, show the sports, please. And this year they did, like a change in production. Love it. Anyway, hey, my name is John Reed. I am a coach and programmer, and currently scouting around for a new job. Let me share a little bit on that front, not about me, but maybe it'll encourage you. There's been a change in the something. Maybe it's because it's August. Maybe some new budgets opened up. But I've gone from basically one interview in the last 4 months to all of a sudden this week, I've talked with 3 recruiters and had a coding challenge interview. So something's changed. Hope that's good news for folks who are searching for a job, especially if you don't have a job. Hope this is good news for you, that change may be in the wind finally. All right. What are we doing? Last time, we introduced using James Shore's nullable patterns, the pattern language of testing without mocks, introduced a way to have our code have both a secret maker that normally shuffles things unless it's null. Unless it's the special null version, in which case it just returns the secret unshuffled. And got this great comment. Shout out to Pool Henriksen. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, hey, subscribe, and if you like what you see, then give it a like. But if you subscribe, you'll get my new stuff as it comes. Check out my old stuff too, like the non-live stream things. I've got some interesting videos out there, I think. And if you haven't visited my blog, there's some new articles out there. And I want to get blogging again, but job searches takes a lot of time and energy. Anyway, Pool Henriksen. Hey, Omar. Glad to have you. Says, hi, John. Thanks for all these great videos. Been following here on YouTube. I can unfortunately not make it to your live streams. I'm glad that then I can take the Twitch streams after the required Twitch only time of 24 hours and then drop it into YouTube. I was surprised to see that you used the nulled secret maker as the default in the game constructor instead of the real production version of secret maker. I reread James Shore's pattern language, but did not find any recommendation regarding this, though. An argument in favor of defaulting to the nulled version could be that you avoid some repetition in the tests, which is what we did last time, where you would then avoid having to specify that the nulled version should be used. On the other hand, it might be easier to accidentally use the nulled version in production when it is the default. Would love to hear your thoughts on this, either here or in your next stream. Thank you, Paul. This was a great observation, and let's start there. In our discovery tree, absolutely, I agree that the tests making a nullable should be an explicit thing, not something you get by default. Yes, yes, yes. So let's start there. Let's see what it looks like. So in the app, the actual construction of the production game screen, you can see that we're putting in a regular old secret maker. Whereas game screen. Got it? No, not game screen. Hey, come back. Hey, I'm clicking you. Xcode lost its brain for a second. In the initializer, here's the problem, or the potential shortcoming of this. Hey, Grant. Welcome. Is that the default is null. And I'd kind of like, what I'd really like is to have no default. Now, putting the null in there was a quick and easy trick. It let us, because the secret, the game is made in quite a few places in test code, this was the easy out. But let's go and fix this up. The goal then is, I would like, is no default. You specify explicitly. But let's get there safely. And let's go into the tests. Not the secret maker tests, the game screen tests. Here we go. Because this is where we could go and say secret maker create null. Like that will work. And there are not many tests, but here's a reason not to do that. Bing, 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 mud sharks on it. Create a helper. And let's do the classic application of Kent Beck's wisdom, which is to make a change, first make the change easy, then make the easy change. To make the easy change is if we didn't have to change it in however many tests we have, 4 or 5, that we could change it only in one place. So let us extract a helper here, and let's do as much as possible. Let's do this with, hello. I'm trying to extract a variable here. I was going to say, let's do this with automation. Oh my. I thought for sure. Oh. Oh, I love it. Grant, that's great. Look for the helpers. That Mr. Rogers' wisdom there is definitely applicable today. So we could add an init extension to the game object only on the tests. And hey, Andy Coder, that don't receive the game maker. That way we don't need to modify our tests. Oh. Well, that's a weird idea. Let's try it. I think it's weird. But what if we could? So, you're suggesting an extension to the game. Here it comes. Except this will be the create null. Really? So this would be a convenience. I guess it will probably help us with that. Hello. What's the keystroke? Smash F. This is interesting. Here I was all set to make a helper, and to do that I was trying to extract this to a variable and then extract this to a method and then inline the variable. But what if? Now, can this be private? File private? Let's see. Because I don't want this to bleed out. Okay, let's try this. This is neat. I would not have thought of this. Okay, so back in the game. Hello. It's not going to take me to the game? Why not? Oh, game is kind of hidden in code choice. Okay, that's a little odd. Might want to fix that. These are the only tests that would use that extension method? No, not necessarily. But I would, and hey, thanks for, I somewhat wonder if it suffers from being too clever. It's a good question. But first, let's try it and see. So, can I now get rid of that so that it's explicit? And the preview. Let's use the nullable version. Here. Eh? Oh, on the wrong side. Hey, first time chatter, El Migranto. If you overflow too clever hard enough, it becomes reasonably clever. Now, this is interesting. And I'm not sure how I feel about it, but it is clever. And this is part of the fun of what we're here to do, is not me being all wise and all. I've got stuff to share with you, but it's working together. So that worked. Since it worked, you know the rules. I want to. Let's see, mastermind. What we got here? So we made it explicit in an extension. Man. Let me get this in, then I'll catch up. Let's see. This is require. Hey, Michaela. Okay. Require or make secret maker explicit, no default. Push. Germany. Oh, that's right. You're at a conference there, aren't you? I swear. I feel like the best conferences are mostly outside the US. So, back to the discussion here. We might still need the helper later on if we add more customization, but for now, that's the simplest way to achieve what we need. That was the big win. Instead of creating a maker, sort of a helper, oh, wrong tests. Instead of making a helper, a convenience initializer that has an extension. So let's discuss this. It's hiding that collaborator from the tests as well. Not sure we want that information in Sweden. Oh, you too, yeah. So I always feel a little funny about tests adding extensions to production code. How about you? I love that we got here so fast, and this is a great trick. But it always feels funny to me, and I know why. It is because tests are examples. Remember how we often look in View Inspector to see, for example, like, how do you do stuff with View Inspector? Well, it's got tests, and we can look at the tests and get an idea from the tests of how things work. So where I feel a little bit uncomfortable, right, the test extension won't be in the production build. Where I feel a little bit uncomfortable is that it can be misleading to look at this test without looking down at the extensions. And maybe it would be more obvious if I put the extension first, but I kind of like the test code first usually. To say, oh, to make a game, you do that. And then you can't do that because this initializer is not there in production code. I've run across this in working on at Amex. Folks liked to put helpers as extensions onto, sort of attach it to the production code. And it made me, it's not super clear. On the other hand, it's clear that it's a game. So I'm not sure. And this is where we can go either way, right? And we can try it. That's definitely why I wanted to try it, was because otherwise I wouldn't know how to feel, how it felt, or how freaking easy it was to add it in one place instead of changing it all up. Maybe the right thing to do, or at least a better thing to do. Yes. I don't feel a need for a comment, but at least when you come to this test code, there it is, extension. It's right in your face. Now, if this gets reused outside and it moves into its own file, but this is an easy change. Let's put this in. Move extension initializer to top for easy discovery. And I'm okay keeping it with this. Whoop, there's my super secret, not so secret. Twitch checklist of all the things I do. Most of what I do for setup is automated, and these are the manual bits. Yeah. So without rushing into it, and especially not without feeling other code pulling at it, this might be a time to say, that's good enough. Defer any further decisions until the need presents itself. Code is code, and the beautiful thing about it is we can shape it as we go, which is why it is magical and why I think development is not a factory production thing that you can predict and guarantee scope and time locked down. If code were easy, if code were a factory, then you'd just make a program to write it. And there are template things to do that. I've done that in the past. Write some code that spits out code, and it's just a template thing, and it fills in, or leaves you places to fill in as a starting point. Folks probably do that for a lot of apps. Nothing wrong with that. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, if code were that easy, then it wouldn't be so expensive, and you won't make much money off of it. I did have to write code to do that. And if it's so predictable, then it's really not that valuable to a company. The real value in code is that we're always inventing things. Even the process of just wiring communication together and putting it on the screen. Yeah. It's always a negotiation. It's always malleable. We want it to be changeable. Okay, so let's move on. That is good. Wait. Oh. Yeah. That's a good nitpick around, like, how would you change this? Make it choice 0? Oh, wait. It's coming in backwards. That's what it is. Okay. The test name shows us. Here I was all thinking, yes. It displays the code choices bottom up. Yep. Someday we'll get to use Swift test with View Inspector, and I'll be able to write actual, like, nice looking test names. thank you for mentioning that. You know, it's always good to look back on code and see what can be done. All right. We have a secret. We've made the nullable. We've injected it into the game. We've injected the null version into the tests. What is this? I guess the question is, how does it work now? Let's find out. I'm going to put this into motion here. Even if there's nothing to do, at least, I guess that is really the question. Is there anything to do? Or is... Sorry. Back at... Look at this. I keep clicking on this. This is what's throwing me off. Gosh, I'm going to close that. Did you see that? I kept clicking on the tab and assuming I was there. Man. So, game screen. One day, I sure like what I see out in Swift testing land. So we have a game. It's got a number of choices and a secret maker. Yeah, they could be other names. Come on. That might be then enough. Well, let's try it. Okay, our choices are black and brown. Which is it? I don't know. Let's click. I lose. At this point, I can dismiss this, but there's no way to say... There are a few things that are missing, but one of them is I want to play some more. So brown is the answer. Let's guess brown again. Oh, come on. I want to win on brown. Will I ever win on brown? Starting to question if this is actually wired up or not. Yeah. Let me try black. Oh. Okay. All right. Something is funny. One problem we have the question is, I think Mudshark's right as far as like the first question. We're setting the secret maker. Are we calling the secret maker? Or is it just doing its thing? Let's find out. We have a game. So the game takes a secret maker. Oh. Look at that. The game is not using the secret maker. We're just passing it in. And so I think that clarifies. There we go. Have game call it. Okay. Okay. So the game has to call the secret maker. Where is it getting the code choices right now? Right here. We're saying from. I don't know what it is. Is this inside out or is this outside in? And a good TDDer I think, goes back and forth according to the needs. We've been trying to do mainly outside in, yeah, any direction, um, starting from the view. But this is a clear, easy thing to say, what should the behavior be? Let's go to the code choice tests. Are there code choice tests? There may not be code choice tests. There are code choice tests. And let's see what it does. Again, tests as documentation. So the direction thing is inside out is basically when you TDD the small pieces and get each piece right and then join them together. Outside in is when you're saying, look, it should do this big task, which is how I've been approaching the views generally, is like, if you tap on this, something should happen. And as we need stuff, for example, a way to make secrets and so forth, we pass that in. It's bottom up or top down. And yeah, any direction is good. Okay, so we have the code choice generator. Generate one code choice, take one. The code choice is red. We do need the code choice generator to give us the things in order, because these should always stay in the same order. So the code choice generator says, look, we want 2, take 2. And here we have 2. So that should be in the same order. Okay, so I think the code choice generator is probably okay, not knowing about this, whether to shuffle or not. Make secret from code choices. Where's the secret? Do we even have an idea of a secret? Here it is. Yeah. Guess 1. Why was it always saying you lose? If it's hard-coded to guess 1, because secret is empty. Here's secret. Oh, yes. Okay. Thank you. Right. So the secret is nothing. And right, I remember now. It was I remember saying you always lose. Maybe I should have made it you always win. Okay. All right. So this is just, it's good to explore. It's good to get back into this. We're still on target here. Have the game call the secret maker. Just wasn't quite, I was missing that our secret is nothing. So you every guess you make is there. So do we want the secret to make the secret in the initializer? Shuffling normally, the secret being empty by default seems like a good choice since it breaks everything. Easier to discover there's a bug. So what to put in an initializer? Normally, initialization constructing an object shouldn't do work, but we're already doing some work. And I think the main thing it should avoid doing is any work that takes time. But this is one of those things where it's like people have rules of thumb, but coding is not black and white. It's not clear choices. It's always ambiguous. Whether to shuffle or not is a specific logic of a secret maker instance, or should the game know about it? Now, the game should just ask the secret maker, make me the secret from these code choices. I'm inclined to say that we should have a test here that either by initial construction or by a separate call. One reason to separate the code choices from the secret is that, when we play a game and you say, I want to play again, unless you change the configuration of like how difficult it is, that is how many choices do you have, that should stay the same. The code choices should stay fixed. So that leads me to think that playing a new game means making a new secret, and that should be a explicit call. Let's do it. So let's focus in here. Generate one code choice, generate two code choices. Not enough colors is an error. My tests are so fast. I was by habit going to just run these tests, but because they're so fast, I can just command U. So let us I'm sorry. I'm back in the code choices. I should be in the game. The secret should have the same number of choices. Sorry here. Where's my freaking game? Okay, this is getting annoying. That I have code choice and code choice, but I keep looking up in here, up at the tabs for game. This is starting to impede me. So let's do a move. I'm going to cut that and make a new. All right. Wish that could have been automated. I wish everything could be automated, except for bigger refactorings. Push it for folks who are following along, but also out of good habit. There, I feel better. And there are no game tests. We haven't needed any game tests yet. Let's make one. Everything in here is tested. I think. All right. So I'm confident by breaking the production code that um, this is fully tested. Hello, Sarah Wild. Yeah, well, welcome. We're working in Swift on an iOS app, a game. We're doing test-driven development. So let us make a game tests. Doesn't take long to check test 0 that it fails. And what do we want? It's like a new game. I'm going to have to add some commands here. That might be a good idea. Here it is. Whoops. Hey, yes. Yeah. Thank you. So, what do I want? I basically want to say, new game creates secret or something like that. I don't know. That's enough to guide me. What do we want to assert? Let's say it in English first. Like, make a game. Sarah, I am a C, C++ and assembly programmer. Oh, I am. Trying to make my own game, saw a language I didn't recognize, so I thought I'd pop in. Hey, thanks for swinging into something you didn't know. Swift is the Apple language. C and C++ is in my past for sure. Also a little bit of assembly, but certainly not something I've been doing. So something like that. That may betray that the test name isn't quite right yet. Um, that looks okay. In fact, we can say with make a game object with the nullable secret maker. Confirm that the secret is I don't know. To make this right, my brain is racing around like, oh, how do I know things are called? Let's start here and follow the weird feelings about, is this really what we want? So the game secret should be, yeah, code choices. Okay. Thanks, Mud Shark. I think this expresses what I want. I don't know how to say that yet. Where the game, we're going to say make new secret. How does this feel? Sarah. That's that's badass. I haven't done assembly since forever ago. Okay, so um real quick, my best assembly language story is from high school when my buddy and I, working on Radio Shack TRS-80, the Trash 80, coded up the game of life with the shapes that change generation after generation, and we wrote it in BASIC, and it worked. And BASIC on one of those machines meant each generation was like, and we're like, yeah, it's working, but it's so slow. So my buddy uh, said, well, what if we write it in assembly language? And we converted it, yeah, um, converted it to assembly, rewrote it in assembly. And we're like, okay, let's see if it works. And nothing. The screen was blank. And we're like, huh? What did we do wrong? And then my friend realized it was going so fast that it was faster than the screen refresh rate. And so he added a little bit of slowdown, like introduced just a little pause, and we were blown away because then we could see it, and it was just like, and that was my real visceral experience of how assembly could, like, getting right down to the metal could change things. All right, we need a secret maker. Sure, let's create the null one. Now, to frame this up, we still don't know what code choices shuffled means. You mean in the game screen? Yeah. View inspector is the tool. I'm not sure what you're asking. Because the game screen tests basically are trying not to operate other than setting things up at the level of, like, um, what's the secret? Right. Okay. Gotcha. Hum. This we can do. Well, let's frame this up. So I'll go to the game. Hopefully it'll let me go to the game this time. Yeah, for some reason it just wouldn't. And let us make something that does nothing. What do we want to say here? I'm not sure. So the game sets up the code choices in the initializer. I have an idea. At least something to start with. Let's come back to this for a second, and let's first do some just a characterization test. Game has no secret initially. We know this, but I want it to be explicit in here. By the way, I'm getting tired of this, but maybe I'm not tired. Maybe we need it explicit. Right? This is what we already have in there. This should pass. And just to demonstrate, oh, yuck. Okay, color and code value. Right, I'm just breaking it because I want to verify that the test I'm adding after the fact is in fact testing the thing I want. Michaela, kind of off topic, but do you write unit tests around a third-party library to confirm it's working? In general, no, unless I don't trust it, right? So, with a third party, you normally wouldn't test it unless you have a reason not to trust it, or especially if you're like, what if they change this out from under me? I need an alarm. Like I'm guaranteeing this certain behavior, and if they change this, I need alarms going off. So those would be reasons to write tests around a third party, is not to basically not to TDD, but to protect yourself. What I wanted here was a contrast. That calling make new secret, let's just this is the gross way to go. Huh. Wow, interesting. Thanks for sharing that, Grant and Garbob, and Michaela for a good question. Can you do is valid? clause. If it is valid, then proceed. If not valid, then nothing happens. Would that be in, like, basically in the production code to say, look, you don't get to, for example, you better not be asking, is the guess correct, unless you've made a new secret? And this is some stateful stuff here, right? That may or may not be great, that we have a game without a secret instead of having a type like game without secret and game with secret or something like that. But for now, just to get up and running. Oh yes, Grant. Around third-party tests, you don't generally put those in the regular test target. Put them in a separate target, because you wouldn't be running. Why run those all the time? And that way you can have a separate job run those, say nightly or something, or it can, yeah, whenever you need to, but out of your way, out of your way. So this is not a great test yet, but it is where we are starting. I'm still trying to fumble my way there. This should fail. The simplest way to make it pass is this. And this doesn't say anything about whether it's going through the secret maker or not. Which makes me not like it. But that'll pass, I'm afraid. Like, do we need a different type? What do you think? What we want is to say secret maker. There it is. Hey, make the secret. Having saved the secret maker into a property. I'm starting to think I'm going to need different types here. That's interesting. Love seeing people's techniques. What do you think? How do we get it? And maybe without types, without an additional type, there's no way to get there when we're dealing with an array of code choice. The array of thing, we may be being bit by the code smell of primitives. That there's no way right now to distinguish this from this. They're the same type as far as it's concerned. So I think I'm going to have to put this on pause. and create some new types. Let us disable this. And let's get this in place. So this is still a work in progress. I think the only change here is this bit of, oh no, we've got make new secret, even if it's doing nothing yet. Okay. We're starting to make a feature, but it's not complete. Game make new secret does nothing yet. All right. So what am I feeling? I am feeling a need to get away from primitive obsession. Primitive obsession is, it's so easy to use primitives in any language, rather than, because they're there. You don't have to do any extra work. But it's like we need a new type. Sort of what are the raw code choices and what is the secret code choice? And a way to get from one to the other. Yikes. All right, so the raw code choices comes from the code choice generator. Let's make a new type. We can start with a type alias, but that's a bit of a cheat. And call this yeah, code choices. So our cheat will be to use this in place of there. Because it's a type alias, it's really not any different yet. It's just kind of syntactic sugar. But I'd like it to be its own bona fide type. A secret is the same thing, but we shouldn't be able to use one where we mean the other. So let's create code choices. Can't type anymore. This must be starting to get close to Olympics. choices or options. Something like that. Basically, the idea behind primitive obsession and creating a new type to get around it is to take, you still have to use the primitive somewhere, but you wrap it. You wrap it inside of something. Is there a way to get this? I was wondering if there is a super secret handy way to, yeah. But I don't know. Let's keep this in the wings. Let us cannot convert. Here we go. An expression of type code choice. So we're taking the colors, an array of colors, taking the first count of them, enumerating them, so I should be able to say options. What do I say here? It's feature envy is when one feature is a code smell, when one feature is asking another feature, oh yeah, to do lots of things. And maybe this is a feature envy thing. We'll get there, but first let's make it right. So when one feature is asking the other feature, hey, do this, hey, do this, hey, do this, hey, do this, it's like maybe it should move as far as the responsibility goes. So we are trying to make code. This turns into an array of code choice. How do I do this? I want to map this and then stick it into code choices with this as the option. So let us kind of like this. First, we make the primitive. There we go. I'm going to get rid of this for now. I rather think there will be one more place, the tests, where we need to fix up. Oops. Uh-oh. For game code choices, options, reverse. Okay, now I'm starting to see the feature envy here. Nice. But what's the what's it complaining about? I can't see it all. So let's go here so we can see the whole thing. Okay. I know it's hard for you to see in the eeny bitty bit of font here. Undefined symbol static. What the hell is it complaining about core audio types for? Undefined symbol, code choice generator, generate from color, taking an int, and throwing and returning a array of code choice. Okay, so it's calling something still mucked up. How did that get through the system? Let's go back to code choice generator. For those of you who don't know the law of Demeter, it is a handy thing. Basically, it doesn't always apply when there are lots of dots in a row, but sometimes it does. And I think of the rule of Demeter as you shouldn't be poking around inside something that's none of your business. You shouldn't ask the thing to ask the thing to do anything. But let's get back here. Yeah, why the heck would this would Swift lose its mind? Definitely with C and C++, it's easier to see with dots and pointers. Code trace generator, generate from. Generate from, returning code choices, and it's like, yeah, but I don't know where's the one that that returns the array of options. I think we're back in the test. Let's find the callers here. I'm starting to lose my mind. Code choices. We've definitely broken something. Oh, when we changed the test code to use code choices, that is now mucked up. Yeah, we've got something is still, I think, in the test side, we still have a ghost of the old type alias hanging around. Does that make sense? Let's do a clean. Yes, clean the sucker. Get rid of your old ideas and give me a proper failure. Thank you. Okay. So, we tripped up using the type alias technique. Again, just to get to green, I want to turn this into code choices of options of this. That's really kind of gross, but is that right? Not quite. Hang on a second. I take this, and I'm sure it's not going to let me. What did? Generate from. No, that's right. It returns code choices. Oh, okay. There we go. Now we need code choices to be equatable. So this is saying for as a Swifty thing, look, we want to test equality on here and just make it support equality. And it doesn't take any extra work if the thing inside already supports equality. So that should get us back to passing. It's gross, but I think it'll pass. No? One more. Woo! Huh. This is starting to get messy. Messy. Messy, messy, messy. Now we can bring back the initializer. I mean, not the initializer, the index thing. Maybe I should have kept it in there. Just trying to get to green. That was messier, messier, messier than I wanted. Uh-oh. Am I still alive? Well, that's why I do local recordings. Okay. I hate it when that happens, especially on the Twitch side. Then that basically says, oh, here's another stream, usually. Unless they allow for like a really short period of joining things together. Okay. This was much messier than I wanted. And I feel like there ought to be a way to introduce a wrapper in a safe, less fragile way that breaks everything to hell. Instead of having to do compiler driven development and following each error and blah, 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 blah. But passing is great. Sarah, my coding usually stinks, but soon as I know the API, I can usually fix things pretty quickly. Once I got fired from a company for fixing something that was 2 lines of code. Oh no, as they wanted to charge their client $10K for 2 lines of code, which they didn't know how to fix before I arrived. Oh my gosh. I swear. Okay, this got really ugly really fast. But since we're passing, switch from or Change code choices to actual type. Wrapping array. Now we better follow the smells, because now we got smells everywhere. And now I'm slapping myself. The reason I'm slapping myself is that one of the things I've learned from working with XP folks in other languages at Industrial Logic is that, and there were debates about this, anytime you have an array of thing, they immediately said wrap it, like wrap it up front. Don't let the primitive array object type spread, because then it becomes painful to change after the fact. And here we are. Where are we? We are at a point where I need to stop. We are working on have the game call it, and what I wanted was a make new types for to distinguish basically your choices from the secret. So we are still working on that. And I think that's where we're going to have to leave it. Let me expand this a little more. Because we've got the code choices and we have the secret. And we haven't done the secret yet, so that is still in the light to do color. As we work on code choices, now that we've made this, we've got feature envy and the law of Demeter violations. So we need to fix those. Sometimes wonder if the generator could hang onto the array if generate wasn't static. Make the array a struct. Make that conform to one or more of the collection protocols. Yeah, possibly a guess. That's a good call. Primitive. Your C++ is showing passing pointers. I kind of miss those days. It's so wildly raw. Yeah, primitive obsession usually goes with feature envy. And what we'll learn, and we'll do this next time, is that by fixing the violations, we should end up with code choices that has more smarts in it. Right now it's dumb. It's just a wrapper. But every place that calls it is a potential thing we need to move into code choices. And possibly these other concepts here. And this is cool. What's happening is that our domain is becoming explicit. There was no guess other than an array of code choices. There was no secret other than an array of code choices. All right, so let's wrap up with our retro. What have we got? What did we do? We did the extension. To avoid making a helper. That was interesting. What else? Primitive obsession. Raw arrays. Converting raw array to wrapped type was painful. It was. Consider avoiding all raw arrays. And as far as whether it should be like, should it conform to its own collection? Let's put that down. Somehow I doubt it, because I think the nature of for most cases, the nature of the wrapped collection should hide information that the outside shouldn't really know. You know, are you a collection or not? But maybe it does. Maybe it does. So that's a question. Any other thoughts? Yeah, exactly. I think we'd end up with leaky abstractions, right? An abstraction that doesn't actually hide something. One more idea. We can add as many as we need to. What was I thinking? Let's see here. Type alias didn't actually help that much, did it? There was the struggle in here. The struggle to determine what direction to go, and any direction was good enough. But one thing that was really helpful, I don't always do this, but sometimes it's a good thing when you're stuck, and it's a good thing if you're new to TDD, is write your tests as pseudocode, as comments, basically. In natural language. So that's something that I learned from Luell and Falco. He does this all the time, and he does it habitually. He's like, we're going to make a new test. Okay, comments. What's it do? Turn the comments into code. This was all prompted, Sarah, by your note about pseudocode. Alrighty, folks. That is a wrap. Did I push? I did not push. I have now pushed. That's a wrap. And Thanks for coming. Thank you, Sarah, for joining in a language you didn't know. Our special guest today. For folks who are watching on YouTube, if you've watched this far, definitely give it a like. Do subscribe also so you get other things as they come. Otherwise, I will see you next week, I hope, at the same time. And right now, I'm going to take a little break, take a little walk, and then go enjoy the closing ceremonies of the Olympics. All right. Goodbye, everyone. This was fun. I really like it when it goes into unexpected places. Even for such simple code, there's a lot to discover. All right. Take care. See you next week. Bye-bye.